Hi guys, my name's Ethan from Tori Media. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get that trending speed ramp footage on your social media pages. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. I've taken some POV footage for you, and I'm going to show you guys how I edit and how I do the speed ramp and motion blur to get that super cool modern trending video. Hi guys, I hope everyone is going well. I'm here today with Jessica's absolutely stunning Subaru. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for speed ramping tutorials, so today I'm going to walk you guys through a whole shoot while I'm shooting, run over my camera settings, and as well in post, exactly what I do to get some of that trendy sort of speed ramp videos for like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey guys, so this is the car we are shooting now. Just to get us started nice and easy, I'm shooting my DJI RS4 Pro with a Canon R6 Mark II and a 28-70 f2 lens. Just to get us started, I'm on a pan follow mode on my gimbal, which essentially means it'll follow me side to side. If I tilt up or tilt down, it won't. So this again just helps get sort of that really smooth footage. And I'm set up on 50 frames per second, so following like the 1/80 shutter speed rule. I'm shooting a shutter speed of 1/100, just so you ideally always want to shoot double your frame rate. And then I've sort of just set the rest of my settings up around that. And I've also got a CPL and ND filter on my camera. So the first tip I'm going to give you guys with shooting these is always get your shots more than once, because I can almost guarantee that it's not going to be able to be perfect every time you shoot. So I'm just going to start off with a shot on this headlight. And it's going to start wide and lean over to the right as much as I can, and then try keep that headlight in the center and just move around to the left. Perfect, and like I said, I got that shot once, but it might not have been perfect. So I will go and I'll shoot that again. And again, just try and keep it in the center. And there we go. So something to keep in mind is you always want to keep a flow of motion from the start to the finish. So I'll, in most cases, start on the right, and for example, all my shots might loop around to the left of the car. And you can get fancy, you can go halfway and then swap back around and start going right. But you always get a better sort of sense of motion and flow if you keep them all in the same sort of direction or change directions. All right, and again, we'll just go nice and slow. So as you guys would have seen, I've gone and I've got some POV footage from Jessica of her Subaru. Well, I've gone and taken some POV footage of her Subaru. So this is essentially my starting point, guys. I've got everything dragged in to my timeline. So one of the first things I normally do is I normally actually change all my clips down to 50%. So the reason I do this is when you are making your slow motion footage, the slower your video, the better, but that only applies down to a certain point. So I shoot all my speed ramping footage in 50 frames per second. So what that means is I can slow that down to 50% of what I filmed it at, and it'll still be at 25 frames per second. So I won't look super choppy or anything like that. And that again, that sort of helps with slowing down the footage just to really go from that high contrast from high speed to low speed. And it just, again, gives you that really simple look. So I'm just gonna go quickly color grade all these guys for you. I'm unfortunately not gonna include it in the video, but I'll go do it now, quickly smash it out, and I'll get back to you guys when it's done. All right, guys, there we go. All our footage is color graded. Now, obviously, this footage is currently not facing the right way. We shot on vertical on the day again, just because phones are vertical, just to ensure we get the best quality we possibly can. So to change these all to vertical, first what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna right click on our timeline, go timeline settings. I'm gonna uncheck use project settings. Then I'm going to select use vertical resolution. Now obviously the drama is it's super cropped in. So what we're going to do again is highlight all the clips, go to the rotation angle and change that to 90 degrees. From here, we again make sure all the clips are highlighted. So I shoot in 4K typically. So for me, I can zoom that out to about 0.57, I think. And there we go, that's my footage completely zoomed out. Now keep in mind, if you're shooting on something that is lower quality, like 1080 by 1920, you won't need to zoom out. Or if you're shooting on something higher than 4K, you'll want to zoom out even more. But this is essentially our starting point, guys. So we've got all our clips here. Now, for today's purpose, what I'll do, we'll use the first 3 clips here that I've got. All right, guys, so the first thing I'm going to do besides the color grading is I'm going to trim the clips down. So as you can see here, I've got the whole clip. But I'll play it back for you guys. I'll disable the audio too, so it's a little bit easier. But if you play it back, you can see me getting into position. And then you'll see me get into position and center the headlight. I think it's right about here. And then essentially you'll watch me go rotate around the headlight, and then you'll see me move away from the headlight. So all I want in this clip is the section of me smoothly moving from one side of the headlight to the other. I don't want me backing up. I don't want me walking in. I just want to make sure all I've got of that clip is that smooth section. So what I'll do is I'll skip forward. And I can see it starts right about there. So I'll press B, bring up the blade, click on the clip, the first half, and backspace to get rid of it and leave your timeline intact if you've got any audio down there. Then I'll skip forward. Look, it gets a little bit rough. So how long of the clip we got here? And then what we do is we'll chop that sort of yucky end bit off. So what we should have left here is just a nice sort of smooth footage. So keep in mind, no stabilization has been done on that yet. So it won't look perfect. And then we'll go through and we'll do the same thing for this. So again, at the start, you'll see me sort of getting into position. And you'll see me start moving. So again, we'll delete the start of that clip. Look, I probably deleted a little bit too much. I don't think I'm quite moving properly yet. Not good enough for me. We'll go across. Alright, we'll just leave it at that. So guys, something else just to keep in mind when you're shooting these speed ramp videos is the length of the video really does matter. So the longer the video you can get, the better, just because it gives you way more room. As soon as you start speed ramping stuff up to, 1000% of the time, even just that extra second can just give your speed ramp just that little bit more time to smoothly ramp up, just so it's not too sudden. All right, we'll go look at this absolutely stunning clip. And you'll see me moving to the right there to get into position, and there we go, I started moving. So again, I'll use B, bring up the blade, delete that first section, and I'll nearly just use the player just so I can see a little bit quicker. Skip all the way, so like I'm probably leave it to about there and delete. So there we go, guys, this is a perfect starting point. So you can see I got, over 30 seconds worth of footage here, all color graded and cut down. So that's the first 2 steps we've done so far. Now we get on to the juicy stuff. So now I'm going to start stabilizing the footage. So to go into, the one technique I mainly use when I'm speed ramping footage. Now look, some people use different techniques. This is actually one that I use for every single clip. I find it gives you that one focus point in the middle that when you're speed ramping, left and right and back and forth, it's just that one center point of focus. And I feel like that really helps sort of feel a lot smoother and feel a lot more cohesion between the clips too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Media 1, Control Space, I'm going to bring up the tracker. So I'm going to be using the Intelli tracker. The way it works is you essentially just find somewhere super high contrast or something sharp that your computer can track. Ideally, the closer to the middle, the better. And especially closer to the focus point that you actually want to revolve around to. And it just helps the computer track it a lot better. So you can see here I've chosen the edge of the bonnet or the hood. And what I'm going to do here is just come to the top right and just click track forward. Now, while this is tracking, guys, the main thing here is you want to make sure that this point doesn't move. So if you choose someone that's not high enough contrast, what's going to happen is the computer's not going to track it properly, and you watch this crosshair sort of jumping all over the place. So that's definitely one big thing you want to avoid. So we'll go through, we'll watch this, we'll make sure it's all done properly and okay. And it's still tracking fine so far. Oh, it got a little bit jittery there for a split second, but I think we might be able to get away with it. So guys, that looked smooth enough for my eyes, we will see later. But the step from here now is to click on this transform node and open up a new transform node. And from here, we're going to right click on center X, connect to tracker 1 and steady position. And that's the first clip stabilized. And I'll go through and I'll do it with the second clip too. What you can do is click on clips and it will open up all the clips down there. That does take up a little bit of room, so sometimes I'll have it, sometimes I won't. But see here, I've opened up the second clip. Now this clip is a fantastic clip to track. It's the same thing, media 1 highlighted, control space, tracker. So the fantastic thing about this is Evie's ears right here are super sharp, super contrasted. The black lines come to a single point, so it's super easy for a computer to track. So I don't think we'll have any dramas here. So again, while this is tracking, guys, what I do is I watch this and I make sure that this crosshair is sticking to that one point. Look, we might get like a tiny little bit of movement, but not anything that we should notice. So that's it. That's that entire tracker done. Again, click on the transform node, right click center 1, connect to tracker 1, steady position. And we'll go through and do this for the last one, just so you guys, I know you guys definitely understand. Control space, tracker, add. Now guys, a fantastic thing to track is license plates with writing. Again, writing, is very sharp and the computer generally has a easy time tracking it, especially a number plate like this where it's black and white. You know, presumably every number plate should be high contrast, so it should be a very, very easy thing to track. It's not in the middle, but again, you still will get good tracking results. Just because of how sharp it is. So even if you have to give up a little bit of accuracy, it's still not the end of the world. All right, so that's tracked again. Transform node, right click center X, connect to tracker 1, steady position. Now, keep in mind, because this is revolved around one point, depending on how good your footage is, you will have black bars. All right, so this clip is actually quite bad. So what I normally do, guys, is I'll go to the point where I find the black bars are the biggest, and I will zoom in. Alright, so I've gone into 0.62, and what this does is this allows me to actually move the clip around. So as we can see here, I can move it around as much as I want. This clip again is actually quite bad. So I've moved it, centered it, but there are still those big black lines. So what I have to do is just zoom in some more. You know, I might just zoom in some more for safekeeping. Alright, there we go. You can see it sort of revolve around that headlight. No black bars. Clip 1, stabilized and sorted. So what I might do, I might just go and straight away just zoom in both of these clips just to save us some trouble down the line. Okay, probably we'll start at the start of this Evie clip. We'll roll forward, so quite a big black bar there at the start. Look, and that kind of hangs around the same size. So what I'm going to do is, look, we're tracking around Evie anyway, so having the Evie closer to the center is always a good thing. We'll zoom in some even more, and we'll add a little bit of that again just to get Evie close to the middle. So we'll go back to the start. We'll work our playthrough and we'll just make sure no black bars. Sweet, guys, no black bars, which is perfect. So again, we zoomed in this one already, but we'll have a look. We'll play through. Bang, there you go, guys. No black bars on that one. Don't need to change anything. Now, what I always, again, like I said, when I was shooting the POV, one super important thing is to make sure there is some sort of like fluid movement between your clips. So this one, first one, for example, is right to left, which is good. Second one's right to left. All right, third one's right to left. All right, guys, so that is perfect. Okay, now this was planned while I was shooting, but you can always fix it in post and reverse clips, but I'm just gonna be so honest, it's just more work. So it's always best if you get there on the day and you do like a bit of, at least like a semi-clear plan of what you're shooting, what direction you're moving, and just make sure you guys have got it all down pat. All right, now that this is done, we get into the speed ramping. So what I like to do, I'll go one clip at a time. So now guys, keep in mind this exact part, depending on how long you want the clip to be, if you're matching it to audio, it's all going to be a little bit different. But what you want to do is you want to click on this little squiggly line, which opens the retime control panel, and you want to go down and click retime speed. So this clip, let's start at 0, This clip is 12 seconds long, right? So what you want is you want an even speed ramp on either side of the video. So what you said, it's 12 seconds long. So let's say we want 1 second in the middle that isn't speed ramp. That's just at 50% speed. So what I'll do, right, is I'll take that 1 second we want in the middle out of the 12 seconds. That leaves us at 11 seconds. Then what I'll do is I'll half 11 seconds, so which is 5.5, and then I'll go find 5.5 seconds, and then what I'll do, I'll go 1 second from there, and I go 6.5. So a little bit of maths involved, but nothing too crazy. So there we go, guys. We should have 5.5 seconds on each side of this middle section here now. At least close enough. It won't be perfect, but it'll be close. So from here, I generally like to speed ramp up to around 12 or 1300. Now this part is super important to get that really smooth speed ramp. What I'll do is I'll click on each keyframe and I'll make them, I don't really even know what this is called, but I'll smooth them out. That's what we'll use today. And I'll extend these lines just as much as, you know, like reasonable. Just so it really gets a smooth speed ramp down and in, and then it slowly picks up and then picks up more and then out. So again guys, that just keeps it super smooth. That's really the sort of key to doing this, otherwise you get a super jagged, like quick, no transition between quick and slow. You will do the same thing here. Clip starts at 5 seconds. Alright, so we've got a bit of a shorter clip here. It's 8 seconds. So again, not ideal. Ideally, the longer, the better. So what we do, click the squiggly line, we'll go, drop down, click retime speed. So just make sure my maths is right. Yeah, 8 seconds. So we'll take 1 second off, 7. So look, we'll go about 3.5 seconds in. We'll add a keyframe, then we'll go another second, right? We'll add another keyframe. Now this looks very over to the left. I don't know why. I feel like this way. Maths wasn't exact. But anyway, there we go. So we've got a little section in the middle here. Now again, what we'll do is we'll speed ramp this up. Now, because this is a shorter clip, for example, I might only go to 900. All right, now same thing, right? We'll get here, we'll zoom in, and we'll smooth this speed ramp right out. All right. And we'll drag these lines. We'll just make the transition nice and smooth. All right, guys, that's 2 clips done. Now remember, keep in mind, this is not the finished product. We still have some motion blur to do after this, so don't leave just yet. Now the last clip, 6 seconds it starts at, runs to 17. Right, we'll just, for simplicity, we'll just say it's 11 seconds long. Take 1 second off, you get 10 seconds, and then we'll go 5 seconds in. Starts at 6, we'll go to just over 11. Add 1 keyframe, then we'll add a second. Just go to 12, add another. Now, again, reminder to drag this up the top along so you can get that really big retime speed. And we'll jump up to 1300 on both. All right, we'll zoom in. Again, we'll smooth out this transition. All right, now you can leave it like this, guys, all right? Like some people do, but this is where the magic source is, all right? This is where the source is. So what we'll do is we'll open the effects panel and we'll search directional blur. Now, if this is not coming up, make sure you're in the open effects panel. So what we'll do is we'll drag this onto all 3 of our clips. All right, now something to keep in mind with directional blur is 180 and minus 180 are the exact same. All right, so don't stress too much. Now at the moment, the blur amount I'm liking is 0.3. So what we'll do is we'll start off, we'll keyframe this with the speed ramping. So obviously at the start when the speed ramping is the highest, we want this at 0.3. Then when we're down to 50% speed, we want that down to 0. Then we'll go forward, add another keyframe while the speed ramps at the bottom. And then when it's up at max, we'll go 0.3. So this isn't exact, but what it does is it essentially ramps up the motional blur with the speed ramp of the video. From here, we'll do the same thing, right? So blur strength 0.3, direction 180. Now we want to make sure we add a keyframe there. Then go down to when we're not speed ramping, chuck 0, which adds another keyframe there at 0. Add another one before it ramps back up, and then back up to 0.3. Again, guys, same thing over here. We want the blur strength 0.3, and we want a 180 degree blur angle. Same thing, we'll add a keyframe at the start, keyframe down at the bottom, and bring that down to 0, then a keyframe near the end before it ramps up, and then finally add another keyframe at the end at 0.3. All right, guys, now this is pretty much done, right? So normally what you do is you'd add more clips or you'd sync them up to some audio. But for today's purpose, just I'm showing you guys how to speed ramp, keeping it nice and simple and understandable for you guys, and you guys can keep leveling up. Now I'm gonna run through my export settings really quick. So what we're gonna do is we'll just char draft 1.0. All right. So what we do, generally H.265 is the beast. Sound like I'm from New Zealand. Is the best for vertical reels. So we want to keep the timeline resolution at 1080 by 1920. Now look, some people have a lot of luck exporting at 4K. If you are using some AI like Topaz, you can export it 1080 by 1920 and upscale to 4K. But look, otherwise, if this is all the exporting you're doing, I just suggest keeping it 1080 by 1920. I restrict the quality to 8,000 kilobytes per second. Now look, I haven't had too much of a muck around with the other settings, but these are the settings I use to export. Then I'll go to audio, make sure audio is in AAC. Now this is mostly important. This won't affect this video at all because I have no audio. But this is mostly important if you're putting audio in there that you want to keep, because a lot of the time, at least in my experience, YouTube or Instagram or TikTok sometimes doesn't like linear PCM, sorry, even though it can be high quality, and it says it supports it, but I don't know, yeah, no luck ever. And that's it, guys. So I'll add that to render queue, hit render 1, and I'll wait for this to render, and I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, guys, here we are. So here is the final product. Again, I definitely would not just suggest posting 3 clips speed ramped like this. Chuck some music in, link it all together, and time it with the music, or put a heap more clips, you know, make it a little bit more interesting. But here's what we got so far. So you can speed ramp in, then speed ramp to the EV, and then speed ramp back. And look, guys, that pretty much sums it up. That is how you get these super smooth speed ramp transitions in social media. Now, of course, this I'm using automotive footage here as an example, but it doesn't have to be automotive. It can be literally anything people are doing. Some people getting huge reels off doing it of trolleys. The creativity really, there's no end to it. You know what I mean? In some cases, the more mundane thing you're doing a big speed ramp edit of, the better results you'll get. But that's it, guys. That is the tutorial finished. Now, if you have any questions at all, please mention them down below. If you have any tips for me, the things you've seen I do in this video that you think I could do better, let me know down below, and let everyone else know down below. This is really just a space for everyone to come and learn with me. This is only something I started doing in the last probably month and a half or so, and I love it, and I think it looks great. So I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. Had a lot of people asking me for it. Here it is. Here's how I do it. Here's how you can do it. Make sure you guys send me anything you do with this. All right, I don't care if it's of a trolley, of a person, DM me on Instagram, tag me on Instagram. It's TORII.media. All right, MEDIA. Make sure you guys tag me, tag it, whatever. All right, I just want to see it. All right, if you're just playing with this video, I want to see it. All right, I reckon that'd be really cool. So yeah, let me know, guys. Again, any questions, let me know down below. I will 1000% be answering every question down in the comments unless something crazy happens. So